My name's Justin White. We're just going to go around a quick introduction here of everybody, of all the people that are on the panel here. My name's Justin White. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions based out of Lock Haven. And Mr. Hall, would you like to introduce yourself next, please?
Thanks, Justin. My name is Kenny Hall, and I'm the Interim Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Belonging at Commonwealth University.
And we have also on the call with us too, everybody, 3 current students that are here. Can we start with you, Rich, and we work our way through? Can you tell us, your just a little brief introduction about yourself and the type of clubs, majors you're involved in, and things like that?
All right, good evening. My name is Richard Scott, or Rich. I'm going into my sophomore year here at Lock Haven. I play football. I work in the DEI department, and I'm also an honor student here at Lock Haven. And I'm from PG County, Maryland, which is about 10 minutes from DC.
TT?
Hi, my name is Titi Lopeadeikola. I'm a junior majoring in accounting. I'm originally from Nigeria, but I reside in Harrisburg. I'm a resident assistant in Lock Haven campus. I'm involved in Sophisticated Ladies, Black Student Union, Multicultural Association, Humanity Club, Dance Concert, and I'm also a member of CHIO program.
Hi, my name's Anijah. I'm from York, Pennsylvania, and I do a bunch of things. I'm on the cheer team as well as a football manager. I also work in DEI with Richard, and I'm a student ambassador as well.
Thank you. Right now, I just want to kick it off to Mr. Hall so we can dig into the presentation of and kind of giving an overview of what we're going to chat about here today, right? So the floor is yours, sir.
All righty. Thank you, Justin. So again, my name is Kenny Hall, and I am the interim chief DEIB, it's supposed to be a B in there somewhere, officer. And one of the things I want to start out with is by saying thank you. Thank you for being interested in Lock Haven. Thank you for being interested in Commonwealth University. Because every single one of you are talented, motivated, and responsible students. That means you bring a lot of gifts to wherever you go. And for you to be looking at Lock Haven, that's a huge plus for us. Because when you come to us, you bring your unique talents, your attributes, but one of the things that you also bring is a commonality with your fellow students. Because every single person that's on this call today has at least one thing in common. And that one thing is that you are here to be successful. Nobody's here to leave Lock Haven without a degree in hand. And so with that, one of the things I want to do really quickly is just kind of talk about what it means to be successful. And what it means to be successful really is coming to grips and making peace with expectations so that you can achieve academic excellence, engage socially, and persist to graduation. Those are really the things that we look at when we talk about success. And so as we move forward through today's agenda, you can see some of the things that we'll be talking about. But one of the things that I really want to underline is expectations, because that really kind of sets the bar for everything else. All righty, Justin, you can flip through. So when we talk about expectations, I think it's important for us to realize that expectation starts with you. So as you're coming into Lock Haven, what are your expectations? What do you hope to achieve as you're here? And then, of course, we have university expectations. What does the university expect of you? And I can tell you straight up that we're going to expect for you to go to class. We're going to expect for you to be civil and respectful to your fellow students, but also to everybody else on campus. We're going to expect that you pay your bill. And I know you're like, money, why are you talking about money? Because money is going to be important in this process, right? So there's a lot of university expectations that we have of you, but there's also the expectations that your family has of you as well in this process. And so one of the things that we think success really is defined as is aligning all of your expectations with the reality of what it means to be a student at Lock Haven and Commonwealth University. So as we go through this process of looking at expectations, I want to kind of get into some of the things that might help with addressing expectations, but also building belonging. One of the things that I want to do before we dive into this process is just kind of defining belonging a little bit and kind of talking about what it is. And when I talk about the belonging, I talk about you as a student at Lock Haven being comfortable with being here, accepted for who you are, included in everything that we do, valued for being your true authentic self. And so that's what we mean by when we talk about acceptance. And so when you're in the classroom setting, we want to make sure that you understand the academic tools that'll help you be successful. And so one of those tools is your advisor. One of the people that should be with you for the entirety of your process at CU is going to be your advisor. That person should be next to you every step of the way when it comes to your academic career. And if you're not getting along with your advisor, then that's something that you definitely want to address as we move forward, because that's going to be one of the most important people in your life over the next 4 to 5, and hopefully no more than 5 years in your college career. The next person is the professor of the class that you're taking at a moment. You've got to understand what the professor's expectations are in order for you to be successful. Because if you don't, then no matter how much you know about the academic material, you may not be as successful in the class as you could be. One of the things I love to talk about when I talk about academic tools is other students. I always talk about the fact that there is at least one person in the class usually who knows what's going on. So finding a smart friend, somebody who can help you maneuver the expectations of the professor, is always going to be key to making sure that you can be as successful as you can be. And there's other resources that we have on campus as well, such as the Student Success Center, tutorial services, the Writing Center. All of those things kind of go into success. So I just want to kind of put those things out there. Social tools. One of the things I love to talk about is the fact that you should be learning as much outside the classroom as you learn inside of it. And one of the things that's going to be uber important is finding your people. And I underline that, because if you don't find your people, then the likelihood of you staying at an institution is not going to be great. And excellent ways to find your people are clubs and organizations, finding a job, also finding someone on campus that you consider to be trustworthy, and not necessarily a peer or a fellow student, but somebody who's a faculty staff member, somebody who works maybe in administration, but finding somebody on campus who you can go to when you have questions or when you just want to sit in someone's office and just hang out. One of the other things that I think is uber important is the process of just saying hello to people. If you want to connect and feel valued, smile and say hello. That's one of the best ways to meet people. So, Justin. And last but not least, I've known 4.0 students who've had to leave Lock Haven because they could not afford to stay. And that's a particularly sad situation because, again, they can be stable socially, they can be successful academically, but if they can't afford to pay their bill, then that is a bad day. And I've always said to folks that my worst day is when I can't help students be successful. So I encourage all of you who are on this call, if you don't know the status of your bill as you enter into an institution, seek out myself, Justin, whoever it may be, and ask questions about how do you find those resources that may help you meet that financial obligation. Because again, that's a really, really important piece of the puzzle. Thank you, Justin.
No, thank you. Thank you for a very informative session throughout this whole thing. And now we just want to kick it off to the students that we have here on the call right now, and really just kick off the student panel and people that are and students that are on the call. If you have any, please do not hesitate to put any questions in the chat. I believe you can add questions in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat too as well. So if you have any questions as we go along throughout the student panel, please feel free to to just add things along, right? This isn't no job interview. This is not meant to be like some uptight thing here, right? We just want to get everybody a chance to get to know each other, because you're coming to our campus here in like less than a month. You know what I mean? Classes start literally a month from today. So, you'll just want to get you a chance to get to know people before you also arrive too as well. And we just kick it off with the first question. Sorry, stop sharing my screen there. Just want to kick it off with the first question of just, students like Anaj, TT, Rich. How did you feel when you first moved into campus?
For me, I didn't know anything about Lock Haven to some extent because I didn't come for orientation. I didn't know anybody. I only read something about it online. And I had to resume a week before resumption due to my program, trio program. When I first got there, it was like a little bit strange. Then I met people during the program the first day. So it was overwhelming. Yeah, it was overwhelming. But the second day during a breakfast and everybody was welcoming. But the problem is you have to put yourself out. That is the main problem because nobody wants to continue to come to you every single time when you're not responding. So I decided to put myself out and I make friends like literally the second day.
Mm.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's gonna be the like long lasting thing, but I felt a little bit better. Like I could find my place after communicating with a lot of people. They were welcoming, both the faculty, the people, everybody were welcoming. They were ready to help you. And when it comes to classes, the great thing is, since I resumed a week before, I was able to go around all campus to look for my classes. You already have your schedule. So I work with people, went to look at our classes so that you don't get lost the first day of class. And it's easier for you because you don't want to embarrass yourself. So the first week was not that overwhelming. In as much as you put yourself out and you're not always inside, even though I didn't get opportunity to stay inside due to my program. So I feel like just put yourself outside. Don't overwhelm yourself because that is gonna be bad. Because once you overwhelm yourself, you just want to go back to your room. Do it or take it a step at a time, and you will see that it's not that bad. It can be overwhelming, but yeah, it's not that bad.
So Rich, right? So as a student athlete who had to move in a lot earlier than everybody else did, right? Like, how was your transition, you know, coming in fall camp, right? And having to go a couple weeks before students even got on campus and practicing and going through your own process to then boom, first day of classes start. Like how did that process transition for you? Can you elaborate on that? How you felt during that time a little bit?
For me, just it was different because, like you said, nobody's really here. Where the football team was the only team on campus at that time. Maybe field hockey and maybe some other programs are there, but for the most part, with us being such a bigger group, it's usually just us being around each other. So for 2 weeks, it's like you're locked in, dialed in on one thing, one goal. So when everybody else starts coming in, it's weird because now you get to see the campus at full form. But I will say that it was very beneficial because I met people. I mean, similar to TT, I came to orientation, but I wasn't visiting Lock Haven often. The 4 hour drive isn't ideal. So when I came to Lock Haven, it was for like visits and orientation. That was it. So when I got there, it was cool to meet my teammates and just going into school, knowing people and being familiar with people. But I think that similar to what TT said, just going to talk to people and just treating that first week just assuming the schedule because it's easier. It's hard to dig yourself out of a hole.
Mm,
So you want to start strong. So if you drop a little bit, you know how to pick yourself back up because you've been there already. Now, if you start slow, you're not going to know how to finish fast because you started in a hole. You're not going to know how to dig yourself out of. So I would
mm,
just say when it comes academically, start first, start fast, and just stay consistent. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. For me, staying away from home, it wasn't my first time, but really it was my first time kind of like being away from home like that. And just that first month was pretty rough. And so I would just say try to assume a routine and just know what works best for you and just stay consistent.
mm. You provide us with some great value right there, like as far as like staying consistent, sticking to your process. You know what I mean? Like, and that's something that I resonate with too, because like I'm from the city too as well, Rich. So like I'm from from Philadelphia, by the way, came here in 2018, had the chance to graduate, play football, that whole shebang too. And it was for me, right? Like that first month, right, was hard because the fall is different because the fall is you're there in August and the next break from that is really Thanksgiving, I think, right? So like, that first month can be a little challenging and it can be a little hard, but I think once you lean on the people that you're around, I think that's what'll help you get through that too as well, get through that rough patch through that first couple months. Now Naja, right? So Naja, as your former orientation leader, right? When you first arrived at campus, let's talk to us about how, you know, how your experience was when you was at orientation from when classes first started. Like what was your expectation at orientation? And then what was your expectations as things started to kick off in the fall? Like talk to us a little, elaborate on that. Because
So
most
Justin and I talk about this all the time, how I was just like this excited freshman coming in. I'm like, yes, like I'm in college now. I'm gonna meet all these people. And Justin's like, I was looking at you and I'm like, she's not gonna know what's gonna hit her. So, like I said, I was this real excited freshman. I didn't know what was coming for me. I also moved in early for cheer. So that came in. That was one of the hardest couple weeks of my life. And then getting to classes as well. Sorry, my mom came in. Getting to classes as well was really difficult for me because I was at a small school of 91 people. I was with those same 91 people for 5 years. So I really didn't know how many different backgrounds can come in and how many different people like you get along with and how many people you clash with. I came to college thinking, it's going to be no drama. I'm going to be free. Like, this is a new life for me. But college is almost the same thing. You're just here to get a degree. But like I said, you're going to meet different people um, than any other place. But like I said, I was this excited freshman and I really didn't think of how I was going to live my life in college. I just think I'm going to get there. It's going to be all like fairy dust and sprinkles. And I get in there and I'm like, wow, like this is real life. And you get into college and you have these experiences that really test who you are as a person. And with these experiences, you can either choose to do the right thing and learn from it, or choose to let that destroy who you are, make you look at yourself differently as a person. But like I said, these experiences in college will benefit you in your adult life, and they teach you how to solve problems in your work life, just anywhere in your adult life.
I love that. I love how you ended that segue there. And that kind of segues into the next topic the next question that I really wanted to ask, really, especially, TT, right? Transitioning in from, from Nigeria to Harrisburg, then to Lock Haven. Even from Harrisburg, from Nigeria to Harrisburg are two different things, completely different cultures, right? But even from Harrisburg to Lock Haven in central Pennsylvania, you know what I mean, is also different too as well. Can you elaborate on how did you find or how you're continuing to find your sense of belonging on campus, whether that be, clubs, whether that be your day to day on how what makes you happy being a student here?
First thing I would say is not easy. It's not easy, especially when you have an accent or when you struggle to communicate sometimes. But what is mostly important is your principle, who you are. Deep down, you got to figure out, or else you will get lost, definitely, especially in college. It is very easy for you to get lost in college because there are a lot of people around, you don't know who you are. So you have to be very, very certain about who you are, what your principles are, and you have to have a self-control and self-discipline. Because if without self-discipline, you can easily follow by listening to some people. So one thing is, I would say the way I was able to find my sense of belonging or following my principle is that I find something that aligns with me. I look at people. There are some people I look up to when I first got to campus, which is number one, Derek. He was part of Trio. He was the first person I talked to. Two was Tynisha. She was kind of surprised when I told her because what she does aligns with what I want to be. She was involved in different programs. Still, she has like good grades. She's a what's it called, criminal justice. She's the former trustee. Like she was so involved and she's still doing good academically. So I look up to her every single day and I'm like, this is what I want to do by the time I get to that stage. So step by step, I didn't rush it. Yeah, I got involved, but over time I dropped some things. This is not who I am. It is not a bad thing for you to drop things that doesn't align with you. You don't have to be involved in everything on campus. There's tons of things, tons of programs, tons of clubs on campus, but you don't have to be involved in everything to be disciplined. Pick the one that align with your own principle. Pick the ones that you know that you can find a sense of belonging in it. All the clubs I'm involved in was not forced. I chose it because it aligns with my principle. And every day I want to do more for the clubs. That is how you progress. If you force yourself to do something, you will end up being miserable and not want to progress in that spot. But if you find your principle in that thing, something that aligns with your growth, something that aligns even with your academics, you find yourself wanting to grow with the same club. So one thing I want to say is find your principle. You need to figure out what your principle is. You don't want to change. There's room for growth, but don't change who you are.
Mm. I love that. I love that. Don't change who you are. There's always room for growth. And let's dig into that a little bit deeper too, right? Because the funny thing is, y'all, the panelists, the people that are watching, please again, feel free to ask any questions, specific questions that you might have in the chat, please. But one of the main things that, that's unique about all of this that we're talking to you right now is that we're all familiar with each other. We all know each other, right? I seen, I was a student here when TT and Anijah were students. So I watched them grow. I'm currently watching Rich grow because I was here when he was a freshman too as well. They kind of making me feel old a little bit, but one of the main things again is unique is that we all familiar with each other. We all see each other on campus. We all interact with a bunch of other people on campus. And I got a chance to know Rich a little bit and know his story, right? Your freshman season has been riddled with a little bit of injuries, right? You had to stay down. And one of the main things, Coach P, he always says is stay down till you come up. But even when you up, you still stay down. And basically, y'all that's watching, what that means is you want to stay humble, and even when you reach some bit of success, you still want to stay humble through all of that. And I kind of think, we touch on what TT said earlier about principles, about standing on who you are and what you believe in. Rich, can you dig in a little bit more about your freshman year and the trials and tribulations that went throughout your freshman year, please?
No doubt. My first semester was obviously first semester of college. This is a little personal, but both my parents were in the hospital at different times. But during the course of the season, both my parents were in the hospital for different reasons. So while I'm in the middle of the season, I can't go home. 4 hours away, it's not like I can just go there and come back. So I'm playing games, going through practice, going through school. They're better now, so it's not like nothing to worry about. But they're way better now. And I finished with a 3.6. I'm on the dean's list. Next semester, like JY said, I got injured my Achilles. Put me in a boot. I'm done for 4 to 5 months. I'm just getting back to close to 100%. I picked up a job in the DI office with Mia, Anaja, Tynesha, like TT mentioned. So I'm working part time. Also last year I threw shot put on the track and field team. So in the morning I'm working out with the football team. Afternoon I'm practicing. Then again finished with a 3.5, Dean's list again. So like I'm no stranger to adversity, but I think when it comes to adversity, it can only help you grow. Like you hear the song, it's cliche. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And when you sit back and look at it, it's true. Like as cliche as it is, and as much as you hear it, it's true. So it's not the end. It's not over until you quit. Really, like it's not over till you stop. And that's just me. I mean, like you got to keep going. You got to keep pushing. Whether it's I got this paper to write, break it down. Do your three body, do your introduction, conclusion. I got these pages to read. All right, do 10 this time, do 10 later. Like just don't stop. However you got to get it done, you got to get it done. But once you stop, that's you telling yourself, all right, I can keep doing it because if I do it for this book, I'm gonna do it for the next book. If I do it for this assignment, I'm gonna do it for the next assignment. You know what I'm saying? So that just applies to life. So when I say white funny man, when it comes to adversity,
Fired up, dude. You getting me fired up right now.
when it comes to adversity, I just say look it in the eye because you're gonna go through much more in your life, and you can't let injuries or missed assignments, or you wake up late for class. All right, don't let it happen again. We're all human. You miss a meeting, or you miss an event, you miss something. Something goes wrong. Something doesn't go according to plan. It's okay. Life is like that. You gotta keep going. And what TT said is really important. You gotta stand on something. You gotta stand on something. You gotta stand on principles.
Stand for something,
Fall for anything.
all for anything. Preach.
So that's important. Stand for something. And be disciplined. It's easy. It's hard to motivate yourself every day. You can't always motivate yourself, but if you build a routine and you stay disciplined, and like I said, that word consistency comes up again. Adversity is it'll become your friend at some point, because eventually you're gonna have something hard going through your life, and then you have to go through something even harder. And that adversity you faced a few years ago, a few months ago, is gonna help you in the present. So just be grateful for that adversity, because you'll look back and you might even thank it for it.
And let's stay on the topic of adversity for a minute, because you know the eight or so freshmen that are the incoming freshmen that might be watching this, you know, and the thousands that'll watch this later, you know, I think they'll appreciate the type of adversity, right? Like and to Rich, TT, and Anaja, right? Like y'all didn't see, you know, throughout our journeys of together of knowing each other, y'all didn't really see the young Jay White that walked into Kenny Hall's office, you know, a couple like what it's been like almost 6 years ago now, of facing the adversity, right? Like when I first came in as a freshman, I came in through the early start ASP program. I had, you know, my first semester, I had a lot of responsibilities thrown in my face of having to travel for sports, having to maintain above it, you know, it's a certain GPA, and having to go to practice and all these other things like that. And you know, my first semester, I was about to lose my financial aid. You know, they sent a financial aid warning letter to my house, and my mom's looking at me like, what is this? You know what I mean? And that's a little bit of adversity, right? That you gotta go through. Like at that point, I could have just been like, you know what, I give up, I quit. I'm gonna just pack my bags, go back home to the city, and just forget everything ever happened, right? But at the end of the day, you know, throughout your college experience, you're going to face adversity, and yet it's not about how you start, but it's about how you finish, right? My first year, you know, I had a 2.5, 2.4, you know, my first year of college. 4 years later, finished with a 3.0 and was able to get into graduate school. You know what I mean? So it's about how you finish. It's about staying consistent. It's about staying true to yourself and staying along your process and your journey, right? So now, you know, we transition as we stay on that topic of adversity. Anijah, can you please, you know, dig in about some of the adversity you faced and how you overcame that throughout your journey here, and even if you're still facing some today, you know what I mean? Can you talk to us about that? Can you let the audience know?
So I think one of the biggest things that people look at, especially when going into college, is if you're in a single parent household and you're a first generation college student, you sit down with your parent and your parent's confused on what to do and you're confused on what to do. And you're like, how am I supposed to get through this if we both have no idea what to do? It comes to a point where sometimes you have to advocate for yourself. And with me, that was my situation. My mom didn't really know what to do because she didn't have to fill out the FAFSA. She didn't have to figure out the financial aid aspects of college because she didn't do it. So it was really up to me to figure out, all right, if I get this much on FAFSA, how much can I take out in loans? Or how is it possible to get these scholarships? And that was another thing with me. I applied for as many scholarships as I could, and I told my story. And that's what I tell a lot of people coming in when it comes to applying for scholarships. Tell your story. Like with mine, I had an incarcerated father for years. So it was just my mom and my brother. So it's like with that, I could have been doomed from the start. I could have used that as an excuse to go and, just do bad things. But instead, I used that as a factor to motivate me. I want to be the first person to graduate college in my family. So with that, I'm now getting to college. How do I get the things that I need without obviously draining my mom, having all of that on her? So with that, I had to work many hours to get what I needed to get for college. Then when I got to college, I still had a bill. So then I have who I call my father. He has been a part of my life for a very long time. I sat him and my mom down and I was like, we're going to set up a payment plan to make sure that I'm able to schedule my classes, to make sure that I don't have any financial holds in my account so that I can get through these 4 years. Through figuring out these payment plans with them, I talked to Mia Swales, who used to run the DEI office, and I found ways to advocate for myself with these scholarships. I'm like, is there anything I can do to take this financial load off of my mom? And through that, I found out about the Board of Governors. And with that, I am now financially free from paying from school, which would be a hurdle if I did not have that opportunity. Every year, I'd have to figure out where this money was coming from, and it would put me in like a problem of not being able to finish school. So my whole thing is you can't use these issues or these like paths that you have to get over as an excuse, because there is a way to get over them. You just have to continue to advocate for yourself. And I know sometimes it's really hard to ask for help and you feel as though no one understands your situations, but as long as you talk about these problems and you advocate for yourself, there's always going to be someone out there who understands your situation or can get you to the resources that you need. So say that person doesn't understand your situation, but they can point you into a direction of somebody that does. But like I said, you always have to speak up for yourself. You cannot expect for your parent to hold your hand throughout college, because you are now an adult and you're doing this on your own.
That's a great point you mentioned, Naj, about advocating for yourself. And we had an event here on campus at Lock Haven a couple of weeks ago, and I talked about, and I was fortunate enough to have the privilege to give the presentation in front of those families and students. And one of the main things I talked about was opportunity, right? I always talk about it all the time. And one of the main things I said was, I asked the audience, did they know the phrase opportunity knocks, right? You ever heard of the phrase, Rich? Opportunity knocks, open the door, right? But the thing is, opportunity don't knock, right? You create opportunity. Feel me? Opportunity don't just come crawling to you, asking for you to open it up, open the door. You know what I mean? You got to create opportunity for yourself. And the beautiful thing about this whole landscape of college is that it's, I hate to steal the America's old pastime phrase, but it's the land of opportunity. It is. You could be whoever, whatever you want to be, right? Like it don't matter if you had a 4.0 a 4.0 in high school. It don't matter if you had a 2.1 in high school. You know what I mean? You could come here when classes start, August 22nd, and you're in that butts in seats and everything's rolling, everything's moving, right? You could be whoever you want to be, right? Like it doesn't, you know what I mean? Your college from here on out, you that's exactly what it is. And TT, one of the main things I wanted to ask you is now that we're segueing from adversity to financial responsibility, how what were your tips and tricks to staying financially responsible on top of your student bill, on top of your financial aid, on top of, the extracurricular things that you are a part of on campus, and on top of classwork too as well? Like, how were you able to stay financially responsible through your journey here at CU Lock Haven?
So when I came into Lock Haven, I had a lot of bills because I just came into Lock Haven. I didn't qualify for state grant and everything. I've not used up to a year in PA. So after I came in, I had tons of bills. Even though I got what's it called loans, it did not cover everything. So I still had to pay out of pocket, which was hard for my mom and everything. So I paid, and I realized that this is not going to happen in the second year because I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. So the first thing I got myself, I did not get a job first year because I was trying to figure out everything. It is okay, trust me. You can get a job your first week, it is okay. You can get a job next semester, it is okay. Just know who you are. That was who I was. The first semester, I decided no job just to stay on top of my academics, which is okay if you get a job also. It is just who I am. So the first thing I did is to talk to people. If you don't talk to people, you don't know what is on that campus. Yeah, there are some things you see online, but it is limited. Talk to faculty, that DEI, student success, even people you don't expect. your resident director. That is how I became a resident assistant. Now I don't have to pay for rooms, which is over $3,000. Right now, I don't have any bills. Instead, I have reimbursement I should be expecting. The first thing is, no, as I said, talk to people. After talking to people, what is next? You can't just talk to people and be expecting any money or something else. Talk to people, they probably provide you some information about where you could possibly go, maybe redirect you to other people. Secondly, be aware. Awareness is the top key. Be aware. You can just be living on that campus without being aware. Then you're gonna be like, is that really happening? Is that really? I have friends that when the what's it called, Lock Haven brings out scholarship and everything, and I asked them, have you applied? They're like, what is that? They don't have any idea that there's even scholarship at the end of spring semester. They had zero idea. So awareness, you can what's it called, follow LHU on Instagram. They will always post everything. Follow LHU, follow even athletes. I follow almost all the page. It doesn't take anything for you to follow them, just to be aware of what is going on campus. Secondly, outside what's it called, outside scholarship, yeah, you might overlook it because 90% of the time you're not gonna get it. Yeah, but one of the time you're gonna get it, which you will never expect. You might think, oh, I'm not gonna get this one, and it's just asking you to write an essay. It's asking for your knowledge. It's not asking for your money. So why not provide the knowledge? Just you can. It's gonna enhance your knowledge. It's not gonna take anything from you just to write an essay. Yeah, it's gonna take your time, but you never know when the opportunity is gonna come. As you said, opportunities don't knock. You go for it.
Yes, yes,
Once you go for it, what
yes.
else? First, they put much effort. The more that is one thing I used to say on camera. The more you put effort, the more benefit you receive. I joined Trio without knowing that they even had scholarship. I had zero idea they offer scholarship. I joined them, I participate, I go to clubs. At the end of that semester, I got $1,500 at the end of that semester. The second semester, I was just going as a member just to get involved and to meet more people. I got 1,500 again. On top of that, I got a reward of $1,000. So it's like the more you involve, the more benefit you get. You never know which opportunity is coming. I didn't know what's it called. Community service offers scholarship also. I just joined more community service, number one, based off of Board of Governors scholarship and other things. Then at the end of the semester, when Lock Haven scholarship came out, I saw community service scholarship. So they don't think you're doing things just for free and everything. Do it for yourself, yes. But at the end of the point, you never know what opportunity will come that way due to what you've done. And that is how you stay on top when it comes to finance. When it comes to spending on family, one thing I want you to know, don't compare yourself to any other person. Everybody has different lifestyle, you have different background. We are not equal. Five fingers, not equal. So never compare because your friend is wearing expensive clothes or whatever. Doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna wear that. But once you start comparing, it's the beginning of your destruction. Once you start comparing yourself to another person because they carry designers and everything, it's okay to want a good thing, but don't compare. Be who you are. The money you are earning if you're working on campus is enough for you. Trust me, it is enough for you to live good life on campus if you spend it wisely. You don't need no necessary what's it called, unnecessary things. Good relationship is going to form regardless. Thank you.
There's a question in the chat. Just kind of wanted to address that too as well. Student asks, is there any recommendations on where to apply for scholarships? So you don't mind if I answer that one real quick, or Kenny, do you want to take that one? Because
We could tag team it.
Okay.
Because one of the things that happens is that once you're a current student, you start to open up yourself to opportunities that are on the Lock Haven campus, right? Like for instance, participation in certain programs like TRIO or Act 101. Those programs help the students out financially. So that's one opportunity for you to get assistance. The other piece of it is, and I think most of the students who are on the panel actually participated in this, our foundation that we have at Lock Haven actually gives current students opportunities to apply for scholarships as well. So that's another opportunity for you to apply for scholarships as you go through your process. Most people don't know, but communities actually have scholarships attached to them as well. So, churches, where you work, employers, there are different opportunities within the community, inclusive of maybe your high school, that you might be able to apply for scholarships as well. So I think one of the things that I'll go back to is just finding your people and asking questions. I think I'm encouraged by how the panelists have really kind of underlined the fact that you've got to use your voice in order for you to be successful. And so if you ask people the question, then you can get that question answered. So I encourage Kenny, as he's on campus and as he's going through his process, stop by my office, stop by the Multicultural Center, stop by the offices of other people, because we should be able to point you in a direction of connecting you with resources that will help provide you with opportunities like scholarships.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We have a student here willing to raise their hand and ask a question. You feel free to chime in.
But you can unmute and speak if you want.
Or you can, if you want, you can also type your question in the chat too, Abby. But while we wait for Abby, student asks, how do you get to the exam for your math placement test? Okay, so for your math placement test in your original admissions application portal, there will be a section in there that says Alex Math Placement Test, and you can just go into your student application portal when you originally applied months ago, and you can go into that . portal and view your do we have to take? Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure do. Just yes, ma'am. Sure do. Just so we know, like, it's not like, it's not no life or death thing. Like, if you, God forbid, if you was to get a bad grade in it, nobody's gonna like withdraw you from the university. It's just so we know which level math student are you. So for not only this semester, but for future reference too as well, which level math courses to place you into. TT, if you want to speak, answer that too, go ahead.
To add to that, I will advise you on that math placement to really do well, especially if you are a business accounting major. Really do, because when you want to take your classes, your math classes, they will look at it and tell you that if you did not pass, you have to take a math class that you will not even get a credit for. You have to take it due to your math placement. So once you do good in your math placement, you automatically get to your math class. But once you fail that math class, you have to take a math class that you don't get credit for. So why not just get it done right now and be able.
Thank you, TT. We have about, well, I want to say, as we can go, as much as long as you like. The Zoom ends, I believe, at 8. But you know, those are great questions, valid questions, right? How to apply for scholarships. Do we have to take the math placement test, right? Any move-in related questions too as well. I think one of the unique things about, again, this call right here, and the people and the students that are on this call, and to the potential students who might be joining us for the fall 25 when we roll this out to you, so you can see it on YouTube too as well. The unique thing about us is that you're going to see us on campus. You're going to see us at events. You're going to see us walking. You're going to see Nige, TT, Rich walking through the streets on Ivy Lane at Lock Haven. You're gonna see. I'm gonna be in the multicultural center. I'm be everywhere. Sometimes I'm everywhere too much that my boss got to tell me to come back to work. You know what I mean? But I think that's really unique, is that we're not just gonna encourage you to come here and just let you just fend for yourself, you know what I mean, and just disappear in the wilderness, right? Like, you're going to come to campus. We're going to encourage you to come. You're going to see us as well throughout the day, walking through campus. And I think the culture that we have of just, the vibrant culture of, of people speaking, of people willing to help, especially when you put yourself out there and you take part in those things too as well. Rich, back kind of to some of the questions that I had to ask, especially as you're out of state student, right? So you have there's a completely different cost to your bottom line. How did you stay financially responsible, um, transitioning from year one to now year two?
Similar to what Anaja said, having a plan, but also, um, I went to a private school, private high school, so I had to pay for high school, and my high school is pretty expensive. I went to Gonzaga in DC, and it's pretty expensive. A lot of people that come from opulent families go there. So um I think the tuition was like 25,000 a year. And luckily with my abilities on the football field and in the classroom, my parents pay less than half that. And they understood the situation going into it of me going to a Division II school and the financial situation. And but I knew that with my grades that I could get money. So I have the highest merit scholarship you can get. I don't know the name of it, but I think it's like 11,000 a year. So that takes off about 44,000 from my 4 year total, and then the money I have alongside with football. So I think that just helped a lot. Just being able, just putting myself in that position to be able to get to that. Because if I didn't put that work in and I was just lazy during high school, my GPA and my transcript wouldn't reflect that I deserved that money academically. So I think putting myself in that position was good. And really, like Anaja said, having a plan. I talked to my parents and like, okay, this is possible, this is doable. Like we saved up, we did this, and you put yourself in a position to knock off half of that. Because out of state tuition is insane. It's like 30 something, I think, or if you pay full, including housing, it's like 30, closer to 35, I think. So I think,
Rich, compared to some schools in Baltimore, I mean, in Maryland, that's a
yeah,
lot cheaper to schools in Maryland. Like Towson's like 50,000, Maryland's like 50. You know what
I,
I mean?
yeah. So I think just I put myself in the right position, and it was different. It was like because I'm hearing people that are in-state teammates. They're like, yeah, I paid 2,000 a semester, 4,000 because I got this grant, I got that grant, I got this congressman or this person has a scholarship giving money to PA residents, and it's just like, all right, like I don't really have that luxury. So it's like, but luckily I was blessed and had some things happen for me. But I would just say use the foundation scholarships and still search. Like I Google stuff. People are always you can find money. The foundation scholarships are perfect. Like you literally you just apply one time and whatever you're eligible for, they'll try to give to you. I mean, the wrestling program alone has like 10 scholarships. They have talented athletes and their alumni and parents are always giving back. So if you're involved in something on campus and you can get to that foundation scholarship, I would definitely say use it. But as far as financial stability go, not financial stability, but plans, just have a plan and just put yourself in the best position. Because like JY said, opportunity doesn't come knocking. But if you invite it to your home, they'll knock.
Mhm.
If you invite it to the house, they will knock because they want to they will want to come to you if you invite them. So that's what I have to say about that.
Great answer, Rich. There's a question I want to address here in the chat. Um, Kenny asks, what should I expect the first couple of days, including move-in day? Event wise, where will I need to be and so on? And I think, that's a great question because um I remember when and this is a story, this is a personal story that I had. I remember when I first started high school and transitioning from high school to middle school, from middle school, it was a specific entrance. It was a specific, teachers would come out and get us. We'd all come into the school by grade, yada, 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 go through that whole shebang. And then when I arrived for the first day of high school, I was like, where do I go? Like, do I just like walk in? Like, is there, I'm used to people coming out and getting this. So, that transition of like, now you're coming into college and, where will I need to be? That kind of resonates, right? Because, I think that's pretty, unique because you're so used to a certain way of doing things, especially in high school, right? Like you're still used to just walking in, scanning your ID and, going through security or whatever the case may be to enter. And now it's like, it's literally like you move in on your moving day, you show up to class the Monday and you just, you know what I mean? So, hey, Naja, can you please elaborate on what should a student expect now that you've gone through this, now that you're entering your junior year, you're more of a veteran now, right? What should a student expect their first couple of days?
See, now you're making me feel old, calling me a vet. So your first couple of days, I say personally, there's nothing more blissful than your first semester of your freshman year because you're meeting all of these people and you're doing all of these events, but your first few days are going to be chaotic. You're gonna try to figure out your life, where to get where you need to be, how to fit things in your schedule, because not only do you want to do well in your academics in college, but you also want to have, a life with your friends. You want to be able to go out with them. You want to be able to go to these campus events. But you're really going to sit for a couple of days and be like, how am I able to do this while still doing good enough to be on track for my degree? So I'm not gonna lie, it is gonna be chaotic, but as long as you sit with yourself and develop a routine, so you set aside room for academics. And even if you have a little bit of time for friends, that is okay. But I promise you, as you get used to it and you continue to go and you find out things that work for you and you find out things that don't, you'll be able to build a routine for yourself. But in terms of like events and where you should be, you're gonna know immediately where you should be. It's always plastered around campus. The dorm halls have Sunday through Saturday event lists. Trust me, you're going to know. Like Titi said, people are always posted on social media. I promise if you follow me on Instagram, you're gonna know what is going on campus because I'm always the main one posting. The Lock Haven just university account, the Activities Association of Lock Haven also has an account where you're going to know where all these events, especially guys, you're going to want to be where the free t-shirts are. Trust me.
And the free food.
And the free food.
And the free food.
But you're going to want to be where the free t-shirts are. So follow that. I think it's like Lock Haven Hack Association. Trust me, you're going to know. Even if you have to play it by ear, you're going to know where to be. As Jay White says, the streets are always talking.
The streets are always talking. You just gotta keep your ear to the streets. And at this point, you are the streets. The students, you are, your feet are on land. You're the ones that are living a day-to-day life. And TT, from your perspective, right? And I know we have about like 4 minutes here. We're going to get closing. We'll give our closing remarks here pretty soon. So please feel free to flood us with questions. We'll still answer some. But TT, from your perspective, what was your experience moving in, right? Like, entering a place and now it's completely new to you, right? What was your experience moving in, and what was your experience moving into before? Like, what was your expectations before moving in versus to now of looking back at it, your expectations and your advice to give moving forward to this incoming class year?
So my expectation was that I'm gonna get to college, just meet people, then we flow. Trust me, it's not easy. Even meeting people is not easy. You can meet people, but not form what's it called, a good relationship. Meeting people is different from forming a good relationship. So my expectation was, I said, going to college, live it, love it. But it doesn't work like that. So moving there, there's like as a resident assistant, we are always going to be outside, ready to assist students. Where am I going to get my key? Where is my room? What floor is this and that? There's always resident assistant that is ready to help you. Even to move into your room, they will be there. So first day you're arranging, your resident assistant will be talking to your parents, even yourself. They'll be knocking on your door and everything. That is one thing. Then I feel like as the day goes on, the first day you move in, there is activities in your building. So I went downstairs and I met a bunch of people, and I'm like, what is going on here? The first 2 nights on Saturday and Sunday, there was like music, everybody was dancing, and I was just staying in one corner, like, what is going on? And that is one of the biggest mistakes. Because everybody was just being free because it was a party, and I was just standing because I didn't want to associate. I don't want to be the first person. Trust me, be the first person. Because it's a big thing within students. I don't want to be the first person to greet. It is not a big deal. They will say I. the biggest thing on friendship is who is going to say I first. If you don't say I, there is no friendship. So the biggest thing is hello or friend or hi. Just say it. It is no big. At that moment, it's at the night, everybody's partying, and I'm staying in one corner while everybody's like, "What is your name?" Blah blah blah. I didn't mean good, thinking people are gonna come. Nobody's gonna come to you with it. With you just standing, you're not showing any expression that you want to communicate with people. You're not putting yourself out there. When there's tons of activities, there was food, people were dancing, people were singing, our first night. And it is not forceful. You don't have to go, but I encourage you, please go. Please go. And that first week, there was club fair. So I was able to see a lot of clubs going on. I signed up as much as possible, maybe 10. Because I signed up for 10 doesn't mean I'm going to participate in those 10. I signed up for 10 that I find interesting. Then I went to meetings and I realized I said, it comes back to principle. Which one aligns with me? And don't overwork yourself because you got class. That is your number one priority. Reason why you're on campus is your academics, but it is not enough to give you the best life on campus. Yes, you are here for good grades and everything, but that cannot form your opportunity. That cannot form your what's it called? Your life. That cannot form your after school life. You have to get involved, sign up for clubs, engage, and let your professor know who you are. It is a big thing. Let them know your name. Let them, oh, that girl, yeah, it's going to be easy for you. Trust me. Recommendation, very easy. But when they don't even know you, they don't know who you are. Before you even get to them, they will like, have I seen you before? It is much harder. Like, let them know who you are on campus. So, yeah, thank you.
Great answers. Great. First off, I just want to give, a snaps to our panelists here, students that take time out of, their evening to come here with us, to be a part of this with us, so we can share it to not only the students that are here watching, but also the thousands that'll watch past this. So, I just want to say how much we appreciate each and every single one of you. You all have been amazing. Mr. Hall, do you have any last closing remarks before I close the shop and I give my last final remarks, sir?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who were panelists and taking time out of your schedules to impart wisdom and also a little bit about your experiences, but also thank you to everybody who was on the call. Looking forward to meeting all of you. And if you ever need anything, I'm in Omer 328, so feel free to stop by. But you guys take care and enjoy the rest of your summer.
One last piece of advice I give before we close this thing is to one, always take time for yourself, right? It's gonna feel like it's moving fast. Once classes start, things are going to feel like, sometimes you might feel like you're getting overwhelmed, and that's okay. Everybody gets overwhelmed. We're no matter, take that risk. Yes, sir. Take that risk. Rich Scott said it in the comment. Take that risk, because that's important too, right? Like, it's okay to feel overwhelmed, but it's okay to also take time for yourself. One of the main things that I went through when I was a student was, I spent too much time focusing on my performance in my sport, my performance in the classroom, that I started to lose track of the people around me that loved me, right? And always make time for family if you can, phone call, whatever the case may be, because you do have people in your life that love you. You do have people in your life that wanna get to know what you're living through, right? And please, feel free to share. Also, if you're looking for a job on campus, DEI office is a great place to go to as well. Admissions office is also another great place to go to as well if you're looking for a job on campus. Come be the faces of the university. We'll put you on a poster, on a billboard, as they say, and you'll have a great experience. But take the risk, enjoy, take time for yourself, but most importantly, be nice to the people on campus, and also be humble too as well. Yeah, and that's my closing remarks and my last piece of advice I want to give before we close it off. Thank you all. Y'all have a great night. And we'll see you here in a couple weeks. Go Bald Eagles. Get locked in.